Hello everyone. Let's learn about ratios. Ratios is a convenient way of comparing two or more quantities measured in the same units. Let's say we have two quantities A and B and we want to find their ratio, then it is written as A is to B. We use colons for ratio and this is read as A is to B. This is to is for the ratio. Another way of writing the ratio is as a fraction. So we can write down ratio as A upon B. As we reduce fractions into lowest term, we also reduce ratios into the lowest term. Let's say in a group we have 15 women to 10 men and we want to write down their ratio, right? So we want to write down the ratio of women to men. Now the number of women is 15 and number of men is 10. So their ratio is 15 is to 10. But this is not the final answer. We need to reduce this ratio into lowest term. If we have fraction 15 upon 10, how do we reduce it into lowest term? We find a common factor, right? And then cancel numerator and denominator by that common factor. So here 5 threes is 15 and 5 twos is 10 and we get 3 upon 2. Same way, in this notation, we reduce both the terms into lowest term using a common factor method. So we reduce 15 as 5 threes are 15, 5 twos are 10, and we write down the final answer as 3 is to 2. So the ratio of women to men is 3 is to 2. Next part is write the ratio of men to total people in the group. Now we want to write down the ratio of men to total people. We have number of men 10, but we don't have total people as yet, right? So we can find total people here. Total people is equal to 15 women and 10 men, right? So we have total 25 people. Now we can write down the ratio of men to total, right? Men is to total. Now men is 10 and total is 25. So we get 10 is to 25, but we need to write down this ratio into lowest term. Now 5 times 2 is 10 and then 5 times 5 is 25, right? So the ratio of men to total is 2 is to 5. In ratio, order matters. If we are writing the ratio of total is to men, then the ratio would become 5 is to 2, right? Order matters in ratio. In next example, we have a recipe where we need 1/4 cup of margarine, half cup of flour and 3/4 cup of brown sugar. Write down this recipe as a ratio. Now, we have three quantities here, margarine and then flour and then sugar, right? And we want to find their ratio. Now we have 1/4 cup of margarine. Let's write down the number under margarine. And then flour is half cup. And then sugar is 3/4 cup, right? So this is their ratio, but we need this ratio into lowest term to understand it in a better way. So what we do, we take LCM of denominators. So we have 4, 2 and 4 as denominators. Their common LCM is 4, right? So let's write down the common LCM. As we do in ratios, we adjust numerators, right? So how do we get 4 from 4? We multiply it by 1. So let's multiply numerator by 1. So we have 1 for margarine. And then we use colon again. Then 2 times 2 gives us 4. Multiply numerator by 2 and we get 2 for the top. And then for sugar, 4 times 1 gives us 4. Let's multiply 3 by 1 and we get 3, right? Because 4 is a common LCM, we skip it, and the ratio is 1 is to 2 is to 3. That is our lowest form. So ratio of margarine to flour to brown sugar is 1 is to 2 is to 3. Another example is we want to find out the ratio of 24 weeks to 1.5 years. Now, as I said, ratio is a way of comparing quantities in the same unit. Now, years should be in weeks, right? So we'll convert years into weeks so that we can compare them in ratio. Let's convert years into weeks. Now, 1 year is equal to 52 weeks, right? So if we have 1.5 year, 1.5 year is equal to 1.5 times 52, and that becomes equal to 78, right? Now we can compare. So we have 24 weeks is to 78 weeks. Now we can compare these two quantities. So if I skip word week, we have 24 is to 78. That is their ratio. And in lowest term, it is 2 times 12, 2 times 39. And then we can still reduce it by 3. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 13 is 39. So finally we get 4 is to 13. That is the lowest form of the ratio of 24 weeks to 1.5 years. My next example is 30 minutes to 4 hours. If you want to try this question, please pause the video and come back after 2 minutes. Okay, so 30 minutes to 4 hours. Again, I'll convert hours into minutes, right? We have 1 hour equal to 60 minutes. So 4 hours is equal to 60 times 4, which is 240 minutes, right? Now we have both the quantities in the same units. We can compare them. So 30 is to 240, right? This is the ratio of the time. Now we'll convert it into lowest term. Let's cancel with common factors. 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 8 is 24 and then 0, right? Then we can reduce it by 10. 10 times 1 is 10. 10 times 8 is 80. And finally, in lowest term, we get 1 is to 8. Another example is in decimals. Here we have 1.25 is to 2.75 is to 5. The best way to reduce such fractions is eliminate the decimal first. So if we have 1.25 multiplied by 100, right, we'll get 125. But we cannot multiply only one term in ratio with 100. If we are doing anything with one term, we'll have to do the same process with all the terms. So we'll multiply all the terms by 100. So it gives us 1.25 times 100 is to 2.75 times 100 is to 5 times 100. We can multiply or divide each term of the ratio by the same number. The ratio still remains the same. So we are multiplying by 100 here, right? So we get 125 for the first term. For the second term, we get 275. And for the third term, we get 500. Now, so far we have eliminated decimal. We have whole numbers here now, and we want to reduce it into lowest term, right? So let's reduce these three terms into lowest term. I can see 5 as a common factor of all the three terms. So let's reduce it by 5 first. 5 times 25 is 125. Then 5 times 55 is 275. 5 times 100 is 500, right? I can still see 5 reduces all the terms. So 5 times 5 is 25, 5 11s are is 55, 5 20s are is 100, right? Now 5 and 20 have common factor, but the third term 11 is a prime number. It doesn't have any common factor. So this is the lowest form of our fraction. So our final answer is 5 is to 11 is to 20, right? Now this is the time to check your understanding. Please pause the video and come back to see your answer. Thank you everyone.